Saturday night, and we're here again. It's Saturday at Aussie Mail's live video feed. Just give me a couple of minutes, guys, while I check that everything is working okay. If you're out there, give me a little hello so I can double check that the comments are coming through. Okay. Anybody out there? Hey Sue, how are you? Evening, Marion. Okay. Everything seems to be working. Hey Diane and Linda, how are you? Leanne, good to see you. Hey Roslyn. Linda, hello. Hey Annette. Okay. I think people might be commenting on the wrong video, Chris. I'm getting notifications that people are commenting on a video, but it's not this one. I don't know where they are. Hey Daryl, how are you? Julie, Teresa, good to see you. Susie. Hey Ray. Okay. Hey Shirley, glad you made it. Where's... All right, it seems to be coming through. Okay. All right, so we've got an easy one to do tonight, a good one for beginners. As I said, it's a Vipera orbital or Viper basket or any of those names variation called Kai. I believe that's how you pronounce it. In fact, actually, I have no idea how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm calling it. Which I understand when we went looking for the meaning behind it is a word of Finnish origins for viper. And you often see it used in referring Vipera berus, which is a common adder apparently. So that's where all that name seems to come from. Hey Alison, I'm glad you made it. Okay, fantastic. All right, so as I said, really simple. So I didn't ask you guys to do any prep work. We'll do all of that as part of this. So I'll flip it over to the other camera and we'll get started. Okay, so we start this weave off by making a chain, a simple chain, the length of your brace of your wrist. So if you guys want to start doing that, and I will talk about some of the gauges and show you the difference in the sizes. Okay, so tonight I'll be weaving with the 14 gauge rings, and that is the 14 gauge 5 in the middle. And for colour on the outside, I've chosen the 5/16 or the 7.94mm AA rings. This one holds the shape quite well. Chain of the smaller rings, Christina. Yep, that's it. So if you want to make up a chain of that while I'm chatting, and then we can make a start. Okay, next is the 16 gauge, which we've got 5/32 in the middle, or 3.97 mils, with 16 gauge 1/4 inch on the outside. For 18 gauge, that's actually purple. Leanne, if that's what you're looking at, the big one here, it's not blue, it's purple. This one here has got blue in the middle of it. This is our 18 gauge. That's a royal blue 9/64 or 3.57 with 5.25 on the outside. I didn't like that one as much as the others. And then a teeny tiny 20 gauge. The rings in the middle are 7/64 in sky blue and 20 gauge 4.5 mils on the outside. Yeah, it's not blue, it's purple, hun. Sometimes purple can take on a bluish hue depending on the colour of the lights. And these lights are quite cool, so it turns it blue. Okay, so if we can just whip up that simple chain, you would make it normally the length that you would need your bracelet to be. It doesn't scooch it up too much, so you don't really need to worry about that. I'll just make up a few links here. Okay, well, Rosalind, I'm assuming everybody else can hear me. Not sure why you can't hear or see anything, sweetheart. Don't know. Something to do with your connection there, maybe? Okay, so I'll just put a few more links in. Well, everything seems to be fine our end, guys, so it could just maybe be Facebook's hiccuping or something to do with the connection in your area. I'm loving the new pliers in it, especially for the 14 gauge. They're just brilliant. Can't complain at all. They just whip through the 14 gauge. They don't mar it. They're fabulous. Okay, so once you get a chain the length that you need it, I'm just going to stop here. Pop a twist tie on the end. Give you something to hold on to. The ones I'm currently using, Shirley, are already on the site. They've been there for a while now. If you look under the Lindstrom RX pliers, you'll be able to find them. All right. So what we're going to do now is pick up one of our, I'll move these out of the way, they're a bit distracting. Pick up one of our open large rings, in this case the 5/16, and we're going to put it through basically the first and the third ring in the chain, encircling the second ring, and we're going to close that up. I'm just looking at these orange rings I've chosen, and they might actually be, I'm going to go with a different size. These ones are actually a bit smaller. They're not working so well. Let me choose a different colour. Okay, so large rings, take 2, going through the third and the first, encircling the second ring, close it up. And then we take another one of our 5/16 and we put that through the third ring, going around the fourth and through the fifth. Okay, and we keep doing that down the length of our chain until we get to the end. Okay, just a couple more. Okay, so then we have a length of chain like this. Go back to the beginning of the chain. We want to go under here, under the big ring, the first big ring, through the middle of the small ring that it encircles, over the top of the big ring, taking it into the next pair of rings, going over the top of the big ring, through the middle of that small ring, and then underneath the big ring that's there. And we want to close that up. And that's what it looks like. So you can see we've gone on my awl, underneath the big ring, through the small ring, so it sits on top of that big ring, over into the next pair. We just keep moving our weave around over into the next pair, through the middle and underneath the bottom, and we join that up. Okay, and then we take a next ring and we want to go through the same spot there as we did previously. So we want to come up underneath the small ring, sorry, underneath the big ring, through the small ring, over top of the big ring, moving our weave around so that we go over the top of the next large ring, through the middle of the small ring, through the big ring so that we go underneath it, and then we close that up. It's not closing properly. Not happy with that join. Okay. Can't get that one to close for some reason. So not taking any notice of that gap because it just won't close for me. There we go. All right. So your work should look like this. Rosalind, the sizes I'm using are 5mm, 14 gauge in the middle, and 5/16 for the coloured rings. Okay, so we'll do our normal giveaway as we do with our PDF now. So if you're interested in receiving a copy of the PDF for free while our tutorials is live, if you want to place a comment in while we're live, just give us the name of the first live concert that you can remember attending. Doesn't have to be the first one, just the first one you can remember. If you pop that in the comments, we will get a copy of the tutorial out to you guys. It'll be probably by about Tuesday next week, but that's only while the session is live, not if anybody's watching the recorded version. So if you want to do that, we will get that out into you via Facebook as soon as we can, but generally by Tuesdays when it gets out. Gary Glitter, oh my god, Sue. Dundee. Don't know who Dundee is, Alison. Johnny Farnham. Sweet. Neil Diamond. Very nice, Hazel. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to continue weaving here. So going through the ring that we wove into previously, going up underneath it, underneath the big ring, straight through the middle of the silver ring so that the ring sits over the top of the large ring. Continuing our weave around, over the top of the large ring again, through the middle of the silver ring, feeding it through so you come out in the bottom of the large ring. Close that up. Okay, and we look like that. What's wrong? Okay, and that's basically the weave, guys. As I said, it's fairly simple. Tears for Fears, Savage Garden, Cat Stevens. Oh, I would have loved to have seen Cat Stevens. Yes, it leans the whole way, the whole way the length of the chain. You take the same steps every time. So up through the bottom, under the ring, through the silver ring so that you come out on the top of the coloured ring, bringing it around over the top of the next colour ring, through the middle of the silver ring that's there. And it's getting tricky because I'm at the end of my chain, which then leads you straight underneath the bottom of the ring and you close it up. No, it's not. No, it's not what, Dawn? The tutorial says 14 gauge 5 mils and 5/16. I'm not sure why you're saying I changed the sizes, Pauline. I have no idea if you can alternate the lean. That would be then not making the Kai weave, which is what we're doing. If you want to have a go at alternating lean, go for it. Okay. So is that making sense to everybody? So it's not easy, is that what you're saying, Dawn? But it is. Yeah, same size rings, Pauline. I didn't change them. Different supplier, slight difference in the ring sizes, and the orange ones didn't work. They were just a bit small, but they were the exact same size ring. Sometimes different colors, different sizes. It's a tight fit with the 14 gauge, and that's why it made such a difference. And that's actually a dodgy ring. Throw that one away. All right, Marion, it's no worry. I'm making a length a bit longer and I'll show you again, sweethearts. No problem at all. Okay, so you've got your length of chain, and then you basically want to surround every other ring in the chain with your big ring. So you go, when you start at the beginning, you go through the first, around the third, and through the first, around the second, and through the fourth. Close that up. And you keep doing that all the way down the chain, making sure you go through the same ring that you did previously around the next ring, through the middle of the following. Once you've gone all the way down the end of your chain, you go back to the beginning. And what we want to do, I'll see if I can show you with the awl. We want to go up underneath the large ring of the first ring here. We go up underneath, we go straight through the middle of the small ring, and then that brings your ring to sit out on top of that ring. So you go underneath at the bottom, straight through the middle ring, okay, forcing that middle ring into the position, and then it sits out on the top. So do that with the ring. Okay, so under there, straight through, and it just naturally falls on top. Okay, you can see that. We then want to bring that ring around to the next one, and we're basically doing the same, but this time we're starting from the top, so it sits on the top of, over the top of that ring, goes straight through the middle ring, which just naturally leads it underneath what will be the bottom. Okay, and then we close that ring up. Now, at this size, it is quite tight, which is why you can see me fighting to close this ring. I have to wriggle them around a bit to try and get the rings to sit properly so I can close it. The 16 gauge, 18 gauge, and 20 gauges aren't this tight. And your work looks like that. So this is the ring here that we just added in. This one just here. Okay, once more, for anyone who's having troubles, underneath the large ring, straight through the middle, so that your ring sets on top of the large ring again. Bringing it all around, making sure it sits on top again, and that it goes through the middle, or the silver ring, feeding it through so it then goes underneath the coloured ring. And we close that up. And there you are. That's it. Okay. So does that make a little bit more sense, Marion? Looks like I've lost Marion. Okay, so that's basically it, guys. .20 gauge is a lot looser. Probably not the most ideal one to start with. So the 20 and the 18 gauge are a lot looser than the 16 gauge, which is a lot looser than the 14 gauge. So the 14 gauge variation was quite tight. 16 gauge I think is a nice compromise in sizes. The 18 gauge one I'm not a fan of, to be honest. The 20 gauge, although it's loose, is not as loose as the 18 gauge version. All right, so is everybody happy with this? Marion, do you understand it? I understand that you're doing it in the 20 gauge and it's reacting a little differently. But are you understanding the weave? Well, I don't like the 18 gauge, Shirley, because it's too open. I like my weaves to be denser. That's the 16 gauge, which is a nice compromise in the sizes. You can see that the 18 gauge is more open in the weave. Okay, well, as I said, it's a fairly simple one, so if everyone's okay with that, that might actually be it for tonight. Now, I'm assuming everybody answered the question that wanted a copy of the PDF. Good solid man's bracelet and stainless. I don't know. Depends on what the man likes, I guess. Alright guys, well thank you very much. As I said, we will get those tutorials out to the guys who commented while we were live. That will happen probably Tuesday at the latest. Wednesday we'll have our new weave up and listed in the events for you. And the people who are members of our Saturday Night Mailers Club will get a copy of the tutorial Wednesday or Thursday at the latest there. I just want to thank everybody who commented on Chris's thread in the Aussie Mailers group about the logo changes. It was interesting to get everybody's feedback, and we're pretty happy with the tweaking that Chris did, and we hope to do a couple of things with our new logo that our club members hopefully will like. Alright guys, so if you're not a member of the club, you've still got time to sign up to get next month's kits. I think you've got another week to sign up for, so if you want to do that, visit our page and you can sign up there. No, the new clasps aren't up on the site yet, Wes. I have got to photograph them. I'm actually giving myself a day off tomorrow, so they won't be up until next week. But I will get them up there as quickly as I can, I promise you. Okay, I'm working as hard as I can, Linda. I got a bazillion things to do. I can only do what, like, you know, a quarter of a bazillion a day. Please explain what a day off is. Oh, I probably won't have a full day off, don't worry about it. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. As I said, I hope you were able to understand that weave. Don't forget to post your photos in the Aussie Mailers of any pieces that you complete. We'd love to see them. And I will see you next week. All right, fantastic. Thanks, guys. Bye.